At least $38 million of a $1 billion green slush fund is under investigation for conflicts of interest and gross mismanagement. It's another example of corruption and scandal, and Canadians want to know who got rich. After 8 years of this NDP-Liberal government, we have whistleblowers who are seeking career and legal protection for bringing Canadians' attention to this latest example of government waste and abuse. This Prime Minister is simply not worth the cost. So Canadians want to know which BFF or family member or former staffer or Liberal lobbyist got rich.
L'honorable Ministre.
Speaker, again, we need to rectify the facts, Mr. Speaker. I think there will be a number of small and medium-sized businesses in the country in the energy space and the environmental space which will be shocked by this comment, Mr. Speaker. What we did the responsible thing. The moment we had allegation of wrongdoing, Mr. Speaker, we hired an independent third-party expert to investigate. Once we got the result of the investigation, Mr. Speaker, we took action, Mr. Speaker, and we demanded from that agency, like we would demand from all agencies of the Government of Canada, to have the highest standard of governance. That's what Canadians expected. That's what we did, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député de Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
After 8 years of this government and this NDP Liberal Prime Minister, it's no surprise that their billion-dollar green slush fund is lining the pockets of Liberal insiders and is now under investigation. Annette Verscheren is a good friend of the Prime Minister and chair of the board that's doling out this taxpayer cash. But it turns out her own company received millions from that same fund. This Prime Minister simply isn't worth the cost. So how many other Liberal insiders got rich with this green slush fund?
Mr. Speaker, I know the Canadians are wising up to the fact that the Conservatives are just not worth the risk. But let me answer the member's question by saying, when the minister became aware of the alleged or the allegations of mismanagement at SDTC, he immediately acted and commissioned a review. The review resulted in an action plan that the executive is now implementing by December. And we expect the highest standards of excellence and governance from all of our federal agencies, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
L'honorable député de Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
This is the same scandal that has whistleblowers pleading for legal and career protection after exposing this latest scandal in this billion-dollar boondoggle. We know everyone from the board chair to the CEO are in a conflict of interest. They all protect each other, and they all make money, and it's all on the backs of Canadians. This Prime Minister simply isn't worth the cost. So will the Prime Minister guarantee these whistleblowers the same protection afforded to whistleblowers in Canada's public service?
L'honorable secrétaire parlementaire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I said earlier, when the minister became aware of the allegations of mismanagement in this particular case, he immediately acted to commission a third-party independent review of SDTC. That review produced an action plan that now SDTC is implementing by December. That will make a substantive difference to resulting or addressing the mismanagement. The highest standards of governance are the expectations that Canadians should have, and it's exactly what our government is doing.
L'honorable député de Lac-Saint-Louis.
Oh. The honourable member for Lac-Saint-Louis.
Je m'excuse.
I'm sorry. I apologize to the honourable member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands and Rideau Lake. Apparently you have a third question. I thought you only had two today.
What Canadians expect is that whistleblowers, when they bring to light corruption with this Liberal government, that they will be afforded protection. But we've seen before how this government treats the rule of law. This is a Prime Minister who blocked the RCMP from pursuing a criminal investigation into Liberal corruption by hiding documents from them. If anyone else hid documents from the RCMP, they'd end up in handcuffs. But with these Liberals, what we see is the continuation of that cover-up. After 8 years, it's a Prime Minister who isn't worth the cost to our democratic institutions. So what evidence is this Prime Minister so desperate to hide from the RCMP, and why does he think that he's above the law?
L'honorable secrétaire parlementaire.
It's no surprise that what the member falsely claims here is something that we take issue with. Earlier this year, when the minister became aware of the allegations of mismanagement, he acted immediately and decided to conduct a fact-finding exercise through an impartial third-party review. That third party produced a report, and that report has now resulted in an action plan that's being implemented. That's going to make a substantial difference in addressing the issues that have been identified. Let's make one thing clear. We expect the highest standards of governance from all federal agencies, and that's exactly what we're standing up for.
The member from Calgary Shepherd on a point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Looking at the standing orders, I'm raising a point of order on Standing Order 16. The member for Whitby, I believe, made a very serious allegation against the member for, he has a long writing name, so Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes. During the exchange in question period, member for Whitby claimed that a member falsely claimed, not alleged, not made an allegation, but falsely claimed, which means that he's implying that the member misled this House and was lying to the House. I wonder if the member for Whitby could clarify whether he was saying that the member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes was in fact lying, which would be a breach of privilege to the House to mislead the House. And if not, I invite him to retract and apologize for his statement.
I recognize the member from Kingston and the Islands, also on a point.
On that,
I also recognize
order, Mr. Speaker, I think that even from the explanation that the member just gave, he's uncertain as to what the intent was. So, therefore, I don't think it would be appropriate to be calling on somebody to apologize without even fully understanding what they said.
Before I give a quick response to the member from Calgary Shepherd on this, I want to, if the member from Whitby would like to rise, he's welcome to do so. I thank the member from Calgary Shepherd. I'm going to take this back, and I will come back to the member at the first possible opportunity. I recognize the member from Timmins James Bay on a point of order.
Thank you, and I appreciate this. And I do think it's important because people make state claim all the time. A member claimed. People also use the thing falsely state. That is my understanding is fair commentary, because you're not calling them a liar, but when people are making false claims, it can be called out within the parliamentary tradition, and I think you will find that we have a strong tradition of that. So I'm not exactly sure whether the person was making false claims or not, but a member can make that allegation, just as members of opposition can make allegations against the government.
I thank the member from Timmins James Bay on adding to that matter, which I will take into consideration.